What is up, my retro crew? Hope you guys are doing very awesome today. We are here at the Retro Cave. Today I have a very special guest with me today. I got a hold of him on YouTube. His name is CoolToy. I asked him if he wanted to do a collaboration and he accepted. Man, thank you so much. That is very huge for me. I always look forward to collaborating with different artists, and so I'm getting ready to do this collaboration with CoolToy. If you haven't checked him out, check out his channel down in the link in the description below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to his channel. Same for mine as well. But today, him and I are gonna go over the retro gaming boom and the rise of retro games. Let's check it out. Okay, so I want to welcome my guest today. His name is CoolToy. Obviously, we both live in different areas, so we couldn't be here together, but doesn't mean we still can't collaborate via video, which is totally awesome. So what I'm going to do today, I want to welcome today my special guest, which is CoolToy. Like I said, check him out, link in the description below. He's going to talk about the rise in retro video games.
Thank you very much to Arlen for inviting me to come on his channel and help collaborate with him to discuss the current retro boom that is now more popular than ever before. It's probably no secret that if you're watching this video, you yourself have no doubt been bitten by that retro bug. And it's likely due to the fact that as we age, we grow more and more involved in the day-to-day rigors of adulthood. We often find ourselves looking back to less stressful and simpler times of our childhood and adolescent years. For many, this stage of our lives and the toys and games that accompany it hold very special places in our hearts and minds. In efforts to reclaim some of those wonderful nostalgic feelings and memories, oftentimes we find ourselves looking to seek out those games from our youth that we enjoyed so much. Whether you're a long-time collector or someone simply looking for a quick blast from the past, the market landscape of today's retro renaissance has something to offer you. Whether it's gaming giants like Nintendo, Sony, or Sega, all releasing miniaturized versions of their iconic home console systems, coming preloaded with some of your favorite games, or the many third-party companies that continue to release amazing new peripherals for both original gaming hardware and the new modernized retro consoles. It's clear that business is good for the retro gaming world. And with video game conventions popping up more and more regions across the globe, it's no shocker to see people coming out in droves to show their support for classic games that they grew up with. Not ones to be left behind, major toy companies have also taken notice and dipped their feet into this retro river by reissuing some of their most iconic toy lines from the 80s and 90s. Things like classic Generation 1 reissues of Transformers, highly detailed and articulate figures of classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from both the original cartoon series and the original film. And it's not just retro console gaming and toys making a comeback. There have also been an amazing new onslaught of arcade gaming products recently hitting the market, with options seemingly for all different price ranges. Things like the Big Fun Toy Arcades found at your local Walmarts, the New Wave Toys Replicades, Arcade 1-Up's 3/4 scale arcade machines, and the impending release of the AtGames Legends Ultimate Arcade Machine. Yes friends, it's an absolutely amazing time to be a fan of retro gaming and nostalgic culture. With many new and innovative products being geared specifically towards old school gamers, continually being developed and released to the masses, it's definitely a positive sign that the retro gaming culture and community is absolutely here to stay and shows no signs of slowing down.
Alright, so thank you, CoolToy. That video was just so amazing how you explained the rise in retro games and what you feel is awesome and what's going on right now. So now it's my turn. Alright, so what we're going to do right now, I'm going to give you my list. I always carry my notepad so I can refer to it. I'm going to show you guys what I feel is the most awesome rise in retro video games. My first one is Hyperkin. Man, Hyperkin is just doing some amazing things right now. They actually have a N64 model they're working on, which they also have all these awesome emulation devices. And well, they're not really emulation, but you can put a physical card into them. Hyperkin's website, link down in the description below. Very awesome. I want to start with the Retron 5. I'm a fan of the Retron 5 because I'm not trying to buy a bunch of retro consoles. I can play my Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Famicom, Super Famicom. It's just so awesome. You can just play all those all day long, all in one machine. And I don't have to buy 5 or 6 different machines, which Hyperkin does make individually, each one. But I like the Retron 5 because I could just slap them in there, boom, they come up, and it's all in HD, have different filters, very awesome. Also, the thing that they make is the Retron Retron S64. It's actually a Switch dock. You drop your Switch on that dock, has 2 USB ports, you plug in the compatible USB controllers, and you can actually use them on your Switch to play stuff like the Nintendo Entertainment System and some games that only require a D-pad. Very cool. $40, go pick that up. Not a sponsor, but if they want to, they can. So last but not least, what I want to talk about with Hyperkin is the Retron 77. I own one of these things, the most incredible Atari remake ever. You put it comes with the SD card, and you can load ROMs on it, and you can play it with the joystick that comes with it, or you can buy a native Atari controller. Very, very awesome. You can emulate, or you can put the physical card in, which is cool because Atari, you really can't get HD, but it refines the pixels, and you can play in black and white or color, and it just makes the Atari experience very awesome. And just hearing those sounds, ching, 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 you guys know what I'm talking about, you old schoolers. That Atari, ching, 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 all those little awesome sounds. But it's very awesome that they make that. Pretty reasonable price, little under 80 bucks, pretty cool. Alright, so the next one is the Eon Super 64 adapter. It's a little pricey, it's $150, but man, is it worth it. You guys can just, it's not complicated, you guys can just plug it in where the RGB jack is in the back of the N64, and you just plug in that, and you plug in your HDMI cord and plug it into your TV, and it totally makes for the best N64 HDMI experience. So that's awesome. That's another cool thing that's being made. Lastly, we're talking about Retrobit. Now, Retrobit is a cool company. Them and Hyperkin are neck and neck right now because they're both doing awesome things. There's not one better than the other. They're both doing just different things that are very awesome that you guys can experience. Retrobit and Sega got together and are making actually licensed Sega controllers for the Sega Saturn and Sega Genesis. They're pretty awesome, so you can check those guys out. Retrobit, link down in the description below. You guys can check those things out. Also, another cool thing that they're making, let me refer to my notes, is the Capcom Retrocade. So that's full Capcom access, pretty cool. Just a ton load of Capcom games jumped into a little mini, and you guys can check that out too. Alright, so that is my list for Retrobit. We are going on to mini systems. Oh man, these mini systems are just awesome. You have the NES Mini, SNES Mini, the Sega Mini, which is coming out but may be out already by the time you watch this, the PS1 Mini. Well, you know what, let me go back. The Sega Mini had released one, but it was just a clunky edition, so they already dismissed that. It was an AT Games one. And we got the TurboGrafx FX one coming out with a bunch of awesome games. And you got the Raspberry Pi. You got all those mini systems that you can emulate that are just awesome. You can just play for hours and save, and unlike the regular cartridge, you can't save with the regular cartridge. Very rarely do you have games like Zelda on Super Nintendo, or Final Fantasy on Nintendo, or Dragon Warrior on Nintendo that you can actually save. So it's pretty awesome that you have those devices that you can save and come back to. So again, I want to thank you to CoolToy for joining me today on this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. It was an honor to actually have you on and have you respond and talk with me, and it was just pretty awesome. So thank you very much. You guys make sure to go to his channel again, link down in the description below. And you guys, as always, do me a favor, be the most amazing and awesome version of you that you could be. You guys have an incredible, incredible day.